Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back. In case you're new to my channel, what I decided at the beginning of the year to do was each month I am going to work on creating Christmas gifts for, in particular, my aunts. And what I'm making them are calendars. So each month I'm doing the focal image for the calendar because it's going to be one of those hanging calendars where you have the image at the top and then the calendar part at the bottom. And it's going to be 8.5 by 11 pages. And since this month I'm doing Ceri the Crafter's #mixedmedia March 25 challenge. I'll leave a link to his intro video for that down below. I've decided what we're going to do is we're going to do a paper pieced dog, because the calendars are going to be dog themed, using gel printed pages. So I sketched out the dog for my one aunt's calendar, and I've got a sketch somewhere for my other aunt's calendar, but I'm not sure where it is right now. I photocopied it on using my printer and printed it out twice, and I'll explain to you why I did it twice. So the first one is I'm going to paper piece on to this guy so that I can keep track of all of the pieces. And then this one I'm going to use for tracing the shapes onto my pieces of paper. So, pull over this piece. So if I want to use a section of this gel print, say over here for his body, I'm going to take a piece of graphite paper. Now, if you don't have graphite paper or transfer paper or something like this, you can flip your piece over and take a pencil and rub along the piece of paper with your pencil and use that. And that's, a good way to create makeshift graphite paper. I'm just making sure I'm going to be completely on pattern paper. And then I'm going to take a pencil and trace my shape onto my jelly print. That will give me the shape on there, and then I can grab my scissors . So there we go. Let's pull over our dog, because I think that foot needs some trimming up to... Uh-oh. He's a little off. I think what I'm going to probably end up doing is inking this guy with some green ink just to address any spots where it's not exactly right. I definitely need to trim up that dog foot a little bit. I may wait until I glue it down and then just trim off any excess. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So yeah, there's our first piece. Now, watching me do all of these pieces probably going to bore you to tears. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the pieces off camera. What I am going to tell you for his face, I'm going to do one piece that is like the whole face part, and then do a separate piece for like laying on top so that I'm not cutting out super teeny tiny. Like, I don't want to cut out a piece that small. So I'm going to do, that's going to be way more layering than the rest of the piece is going to be. But I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use all greens because it's March, so it's St. Patrick's Day, so we're going to do greens. So I'm going to do some, probably not the pale green. I don't think that's going to look great with this, but I've got all sorts of interesting green pieces. not sure how, well, that should work all right. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that and cut out all the pieces, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got the pieces mostly cut out. The tracing with the head did not go well, so I figured I'd glue it down and then adjust as needed, because yeah, I did not get it traced right. But before we start inking and gluing down, I wanted to add another layer of interest. I don't know, just be extra because it's me and I need to be extra. So I've got the Lawn Fawn party animal stamp, and it has a shamrock since this is St. Patrick's Day. So I wanted to do a couple shamrocks where I'm gonna die cut it out, and then, because the die shape, really, you're not gonna be able to tell it's a shamrock, paper piece a different paper in. And I also want to do that with our number 17, which I've got. This is Tim Holtz and Sizzix Alphabet Tiny Type upper and lower cases. And so we're going to do a 1 and a 7. I think I'm going to do a shamrock here, and then the 17 down there, and maybe a second shamrock over here. And then I've got the Lawn Fawn Gnome, and I figured I'd do the heart, and we'll paper piece out a heart right there, and maybe do another shamrock just to add a little bit more interest. So I'm going to die cut out the shape from these pieces, and then the shapes from different pieces to piece in, if that makes any sense. And then we'll come back and start assembling. Okay, I've cut them all out, and oh no, I forgot to do the 17 out of another piece of paper. I need to go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, I've die cut everything out, and what I'm gonna start doing is, I'm debating whether I want to stamp the shamrocks before I glue them in, because if I wait until after, there's a good chance we're gonna have a problem with it not lining up right. So I think I may do that. So let me grab my Misty. I usually stamp and then die cut, but with this one, I did not do that. I'm gonna use Stays On Jet Black. This one should be fine no matter what I use, but we've learned that did not go well. Stuck to the ink pad, so let's clean it off and try this again. I apparently have a cut somewhere on my finger because I just used hand sanitizer to clean that off, and ow, it stings. All right, let's try it again. Fingers crossed this works, because I really don't want to have to do this a gazillion and 6 times trying to get it to work. All right, there we go. Hopefully it stamped well enough the first time. And I think it did, because really we just wanted to make sure you could tell it was a shamrock. All right, I'm gonna clean it off because there's no way I'm getting it in the same spot again. So we're just gonna have to reline up each time. All right, that didn't come out great, but what I think I'm gonna do is not worry about it and just come in with a black pen, because I was thinking I'd outline the heart with a black pen as well. I'm just gonna leave this in the Misty for now, because I'm gonna come back in and do, after we're done with this video, I'm gonna do the video for my other aunt's calendar page, since I'm, you know, doing 31 projects this month. I figured I could do both of theirs on screen, and it's gonna be something similar. All right, I am gonna grab some, I'm just gonna go Rustic Wilderness. It's a nice green, and ink all of our edges, just so if anything shows through, if we're not exactly right, we're showing green. All right, and we're just gonna start gluing our pieces on. I'm gonna start with his tail. Probably should bring something white over so that you can see what I'm doing since I'm working on a green mat. There he goes. He shows up much better there. And I'm thinking I probably should use my Barely Art so that I have a little bit more wiggle room with putting these pieces in. There we've got our 17. All right, let's put the rest of the body on. I don't seem to know where my Copic fine liner pens are. What size are you? You are going to be way too small. That's a bit better. I'm debating whether I want to go around the 17. I know I do want to go around the heart. I think I'm going to leave the 17 subtle. All right, let's move on to the head. So we're going to glue this piece down and then trim away because, yeah, it did not. I had issues. It did not trace properly, and I went to start cutting it out, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to mess this up, and I really like the piece. And then I can flip it over and trim it off. Sorry if I'm going off screen. I just have to, can't quite see. Probably should leave this sit a little longer to dry before I try trimming. But I'm a little impatient. I think that's good, and we can move on to the next part of the face. And I am going to outline all of these pieces to help the changes stand out from each other better. I have to know where I put my fine liners, because I definitely want something thicker than this guy. Do I have a thicker one? Yes, okay, so this is a mono drawing pen by Tombow, so that's what I'll probably use. Let's get the nose on there. Because yeah, it gets a little muddy in here, like you can't really tell the different bits apart. Right, there we go. So what I'm probably gonna do is go in and kind of trace here, and I'm gonna trace the whole piece, but I'm gonna wait until I've glued it down on its base so that I can trace around on the base kind of thing. So like I feel like this needs a little bit of trimming just to get it to look right. Hopefully that was on screen, but yeah, I'm just trimming a little away there. That looks a little bit better. And then all right, I'm definitely gonna leave this area and let it dry a little bit better because the pen is not loving working on the slightly wet spot. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna pause this, let this finish drying, find what I'm gonna use for the base that it's gonna glue down onto. Then we'll come back and give him eyeballs, on which I'm gonna use, I think, a Posca pen in white to draw the white, and then maybe a Posca green for the center of the eyes. But yeah, we're gonna use my Posca pens to draw that, and we'll glue him onto his base. Oh, let me trim off the little bit of excess on this toe. We need to clean up this leg a little bit. All right, so yeah, we got our bits cleaned up. I am really liking how he looks. I think he's kind of cute. So again, I'm gonna let this dry. We'll come back and finish doing the detail around the bottom of his face, give him eyeballs, and glue him on to the base, and then we'll be done. Okay, so we're dry. I went through my stash of gel print papers and found this one, which didn't do on a video, and I can't tell at this point if it was a cleanup sheet or a print that didn't quite go right, because I can kind of see I used the moth and butterfly PM Artist Studio masks and did some stamping, but you can hardly see it probably because of my color choice. So that's going to be the base of our piece, and actually the base is going to be a piece of cardstock. And then because I need it to be 8.5 by 11, and my gel plate is 8 by 10, so the prints are a little bit smaller than that. So I'm going to put that there. We got our dog. Once we glue him down, I'm going to outline the rest of him to help him pop, and we also need to do eyeballs for him. And then I decided, since I wasn't putting him at the very bottom, he needs something to stand on. So I cut out a piece of cream cardstock, and we're going to put the word March, which I used the same die set as the numbers to die cut the letters for March. So let's start by gluing this down to this. And I'm orienting it more towards the top because I'm going to use my cinch to bind it. So the binding is going to be down here for the page. All right. Now I want to add a little bit more interest to this piece because I was going to use a die, but none of my dies were the right shape. So I'm going to grab my We Are Memory Keepers Deco and Stub Punch and do the Deco Punch on here. I think what I'm going to do is take my scissors and just trim that piece off. Yeah, I like that better. And that piece. And clearly I wasn't in all the way on those sides, but that's going to go there. I think I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. Center-ish and straight-ish. And then let's grab our letters. I'm gonna grab a ruler. I just will use my centering ruler so we can kind of sort of get it a little centered. Center-ish. Trying to decide where I want to put it. I think that works. All right, so we're going to use the centering ruler to help us hopefully glue these on straight. Or at least straight-ish. I'm going to start with the R in the center. Because these are such tiny pieces, there's going to be glue seepage, and by using the paper towel when I put it down, I'm not going to get it all over the piece. Stuck down and I can't fix it. Why does that C look so much bigger than the other letters? Probably because it, you know, I didn't get it positioned exactly right. And I did die cut these from a scrap piece of one of the gel prints that I used. I think it was a scrap of this. And so we're gonna, dog's gonna go there. And now that I'm looking at it, I should have done it down a little bit further for the March, but it's too late now. It is on. I think I may have like a swirly kind of die I can cut out to put underneath so that that takes up some of the empty space. All right. In case this goes horribly wrong, I want to put the eyeballs on him before I glue him down. And in case I didn't say it, because I know I was going to say it because I forgot to say it at the beginning, this drawing was inspired by the artwork of Barbara Rush, and I'll leave a link to her website down below. Okay, that worked all right. Let's grab my Posca pen. All right, so we're gonna do the white first. while that's drying, I'll finish outlining over here. All right, I need to wait for that to dry. Let's try a heat tool. And now that they're dry, we're going to go around it with black pen. When I drew the black circle around, I missed, like I got a spot that wasn't white, so let's do that. Come back in with our pen. All right, he is ready to be glued down. Trying to erase the glue over edges, and I don't think that worked right there. I'm gonna leave that alone for a minute and do my outlining of our dog. Actually, you know what? I've got a bigger in my multi-liner. This is 0.8. Oh yeah, the outlining really makes it pop, and I really like how this came out. All right, let me sign at the bottom. We're gonna use a thinner pen for that. And this one is done. So we've got rectangular in shape, lots of gel prints on this one. We've got the day the 17th, and I signed it. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.